This is Shawn Sixx, and I'm here with John 5. How you doing, John?
Hey, I'm doing well. How you doing?
Very good. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. I know you're busy. That was actually going to be the first thing I was going to talk to you about. You're extremely busy now.
Yes, I'm very busy. We actually started this tour, and we play every day, every night. So there's no days off, and it's cool. There's the reason why is there's no singer, and anybody that is going to sing is going to blow their throat out. So, but there's no singer here, so we just we play every night, and it's a challenge, but it's a lot of fun as well.
Well, let's talk about that. You've recorded a extensive amount of music as a solo artist with your instrumental stuff, and obviously you have a history playing guitar over the last decade anyway with Rob Zombie. But you doing your solo stuff and having this new music that's coming out, this is something you really like doing. You really make this not so much of a stereotypical instrumental show. You make this an actual show. There's like stuff going on that people can be entertained and enthralled about without just having to sit through 12 instrumental tracks and have the guy's girl get bored and look for her way out.
Exactly. And I kind of designed it that way because I would take my wife to these shows, and she was not very psyched about it, but so I said to myself, I want to design something where anybody that's even not a musician can come to these shows and enjoy them and have a good time. And it's been working really well because every, musician that comes, they're going to bring a friend who's usually not a musician, and they're, looking for their quickest exit strategy.
Right.
But it's been so successful, and we've been just having great shows and a really, really good time. So we're very fortunate of how it's been going so far.
Do you feel that, artists now or bands that are currently in music have kind of forgotten about the lost art of putting on a show instead of just getting up and, noodling around and, and indulging themselves in their own jam passions?
Well, I don't know. That's a really tough question. I've always been in bands where they've had like big shows and things like that. And this is entertainment. People go out, they want to be entertained. They want to get their money's worth. They want to see something they don't see every day.
Right.
And that's what I'm definitely giving them. We're doing a show, and there's all sorts of especially with this show, you'll never get a show like this ever. We're doing all different styles of music. We're doing all crazy things. I'm playing all these different instruments. It's a really wacky, really cool show, and people really enjoy it.
And that's good because there's so much music out there now, and because of technology and making it so easily accessible, people have the access to music very easily, but not always is the amount of music that's available to the everyday public, is it all that great? The fact that you can put on an exceptionally good show and make it good music, make it well-designed, make it well-flowing music, and have it be skilled, that's a big battle. I mean, that's something that, you guys have pulled off, and obviously, like you said, you've played with bands before. You've had the luxury to play with bands that put on a good stage production too. So I applaud you for that you're actually still holding on to those old entertainment rock and roll values.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, but we really enjoy a challenge, and especially with this music, people, they want to see it perform live because It's kind of like juggling chainsaws. It's like, oh, are they going to drop one? What's going to happen? Type of thing. And it's been really, really super great this tour so far.
You're doing something different with releasing your music this time around. Instead of doing a traditional straight up full length album, put it out there. Maybe you drop a couple of singles here and there just to kind of build excitement and then go on the tour. You're releasing a song every month. Is that correct?
Yeah, a new song and a new video every month. And the reason why is, I always keep my eyes open. There's answers everywhere with your just everyday life. You got to look for all these things that are going around. And I was, keeping an eye on my son, and what he does is he watches music.
Right.
And on YouTube, all these kids they don't even really watch TV anymore. They just watch YouTube. And with these songs and videos, and if he wants to check out a song, he'll just go and check it out on YouTube. So I thought, well, why not put a video, it's very difficult, of course, but a video every month and try to do it that way. And I'm telling you, it's been working unbelievably. It's been probably the smartest thing I've done in a long time.
It's good because people are still looking at videos as being a viable source to go along with the music. Obviously, the days of MTV are a bygone era at this point. I mean, now obviously music television is a reality show, and there is no real videos anymore and stuff like that. There's no, I guess, film, art behind it. It's great that you're still doing that stuff. Are you seeing a big impact on how people are responding to your music and more specifically the business side of it, actually buying your music or purchasing your music because of the videos?
By far, especially with this music, because this is the kind of music that people want to visualize. They want to see you doing it.
Right.
It's like if someone can do 100 pull-ups in 30 seconds or
right.
something crazy like that. They want to see it, and that's how this music is. But yes, I have seen an extreme jump in the sales, and that's it's not really why I do this. I do this for the love of the guitar
right.
and the love of music. I'm out there playing these smaller venues, but I really, really love it because I get out to play guitar and I get to meet the fans and stuff. So I am really doing it for the love of the guitar.
And you actually try to make a big point to make connection with the fans. It doesn't seem like a lot of artists are really doing that as much as they should anymore, because really that's who's supporting the music. If you don't make a connection with them, then what inspires them to think that you're a good person and a good artist to buy your music? You make a big effort. You actually connect with them. You talk to them. You ask opinions.
It's so important. It's so imperative because listen, without the fans, and I think a lot of the musicians forget this, but without the fans, there is nothing.
There's nothing. Yeah.
There's nothing. There's nothing. I don't care who you are. Without those fans, there's nothing. And it's so important to listen to what they have to say as well. Listen, I don't have all the answers, and neither do they, but I always like a constructive criticism. I listen to people as well.
And that's a big point too, because when you listen to those people that are coming to your shows and are interested in your music, you can also pick up ideas for them too, because this is a creative process that you're doing. So after a certain amount of time, things might get a little more difficult to actually come up with new and inventive, fresh ideas. And when you have your finger on the pulse of your fans and see what's going on out there in the world, that gives you new ideas. That inspires you.
You are 100% right. That is exactly right. It's tough to come up with new ideas. With this last video I did for March 1st,
right?
It's called Making Monsters, and it's all done with stop animation. I got the idea from King Kong back in 1933,
right?
Where that whole movie was all stop animation, and saw a documentary on the director of the movie, Marion Cooper, and it was just unbelievable. And the video came out so well. It took us 6 months to do, but it was worth it. And it's something to see if you haven't seen it yet.
Well, they were nice enough to send me the link so I could watch it. So yes, I agree with you 100%. And that's really cool that you're using really an old style. I mean, if you're taking something and being inspired by King Kong from the 1930s, and when it was the grand era of film and how they did things, obviously there was no CGI, and they actually had hand-colored stills back then too. So it was like you're using some of that, and it does make it a little more realistic in essence. There's a connection to the people watching it.
Yeah, it's very primitive, but I think something so primitive nowadays is so revolutionary nowadays.
This is true.
Because everyone's so used to the highest quality, 4K TVs and the highest, but if you go completely almost 100 years ago and do this primitive thing,
right.
It's revolutionary.
It's like going from your smart TV to the console Zenith that your parents had in the living room sitting on the green shag carpet in 1976.
Yeah.
But there was
funny.
There was a certain amount of charm to that too, and there's something that, those memories and experiences obviously burn something into people's psyche that went through it. So yes, when you touch on that with a video, you're really kind of, taking a shot at people's core when you do that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's great.
Yeah, it's shocking people because, these kids that are 13, 14 years old have never seen that before.
No.
And so they're like, oh my God, this is really cool and new.
Their smartphone does, more, complex editing and stuff like that for videos than anything like that. And they think that's amazing. They're like, how did this guy do that? What kind of technology is that? What program do I have to download to be able to do that?
Which there is none.
Right, exactly. So let's take a sharp left away from John 5 and the creatures, and let's go into the Rob Zombie world. Now, as soon as you're done this tour, you literally probably empty your bag out onto the floor from the tour bus, fill it with clean clothes that maybe don't smell as much, get back on a tour bus, and you're on the road with Rob shortly thereafter, right?
That's absolutely correct. I get back into LA. We shoot a video pretty much the next day. I'm back, start rehearsals, and I'm back on the road. And I wouldn't have it any other way. That's for sure. It's a great life. I don't take it for granted. I never complain about it or anything. It's just an incredible life.
Now, start of the tour is at the end of April, but there's also new music coming too, correct?
Yes, and it comes out actually the first day of the first show.
Right.
But we are going to have a new video come out, I believe, before that, which we shot before I left. So there's a lot going on. There should be two of me.
Could clone you. Could have one job for John playing with your solo band, and then you can have the job that goes around the world with Rob. But then you could have a third maybe that does movie stuff too. Because not only you helping create music with Rob, and you've been doing this for a long time, but you also helped score his most recent film project, 31, correct?
That's true. And, doing a film score is really difficult because it's not like you're just coming up with songs or coming up with this, that, or the other thing. You're actually trying to create an emotion. You're trying to create some intensity, but you can't let it get in the way of dialogue, or you can't let it get in the way of the scene.
Right.
You have to just complement each other, which is very difficult. There's so many pieces of music in these movies that you don't really notice because you're watching the movie, but it is extremely difficult to do. But I just saw the movie, and by far it's Zombie's best movie. We are all very excited.
It's interesting because Rob has a tendency to go back to older styles of film, the B movie flick, the popcorn sitting in the car at the drive-in watching the Creatures from the Black Lagoon type stuff. And it's great because how you were talking about your video that you did for your solo project and doing the old school movie technique, stop animation, and kind of modeling it after King Kong and so on and so forth with that particular style of filmmaking, and then your life with Rob. And Rob's, obviously, his music is always very theatrical, always very animated, but also with his movie process too. You're really kind of looking at this old school stuff. Is that something that's, like a conscious decision that you and Rob do when you come up with this stuff, or is it just something that happens naturally?
I think it's just something that happens naturally. It's strange how people come together in life, and we just have this fine appreciation for those old films and movies and things like that. So I really enjoy those movies. They're just comforting. We watched them as when we were a kid,
right?
And they're just a sense of comfort to them. So I don't know anything about movies. I don't know how to make movies. I just know I have an appreciation for them, and I know how to watch them and stuff like that. But Rob actually knows how to make them, and which is a shocking thing to me because he is the leader of our band, and
right.
he also is an amazing director.
Now, talking about those old school things and your influences in your music with the Creatures, and then obviously with Rob for Rob Zombie and the movie 31 and the other projects that you've done over the years. You grew up just outside of Detroit, and you obviously came from an area that had a very rich rock and roll history. Obviously, Bob Seger and Ted Nugent and obviously Cooper. But when you were young, you had the very distinct pleasure of being involved with some of the biggest names in rock music that you could possibly imagine. Rudy Sarzo, Rob Halford, Lita Ford, Ace Frehley, David Lee Roth. How in the hell was that? How were you able to process that as the 16-year-old you growing up in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, and then going to L.A. and all of a sudden playing with all your idols?
It's so hard to explain, but it's so strange because to be completely honest with you, my dreams didn't even go far as thinking I'm going to be this well-known musician.
Right.
Because all I really wanted to do was just be a session musician.
Okay.
That's all my dream was. I just wanted to, live in Los Angeles, and I just wanted to play on records and live my life that way. My dreams didn't even go as far as thinking, oh, I'm going to, play with this person, or I want to be on this big stage in front of all these people. My dreams didn't even go like that. So all of this is just such a blessing. It really is. It's unbelievable that, I'm rubbing shoulders with all these guys, and it's just it's a true dream come true.
You're still pinching yourself after all these years.
Well, sure. I think when you're, on stage and doing these things with these people that you never would have expected.
Right.
It's, if you have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning for a flight that you went to bed at 2 in the morning, and you want to complain, but there's no way you're going to complain. That's the last thing you're going to do.
Right. You're thinking, okay, I'm going to go play with, Ace Frehley from Kiss today. And why in the hell am I complaining? Because I'm tired.
Yeah. My heroes. I mean, they were my heroes. They were my actual, everybody's got like Spider-Man or Superman or the Hulk or something like that. They were my actual superheroes. And, to be a part of this history with them is, it's just really unbelievable. It really is unbelievable.
Obviously, you made an impact early on, and I can say that most definitely because I've had the distinct pleasure of spending some time with Rudy Sarzo, and I've interviewed Rudy, and he speaks very highly of you.
Rudy actually taught me so much. He's really one of the people that that taught me so much. And I can't even begin to explain. He really was like, this is what you do. He was like my Yoda,
Right.
He was my guy that was like, this is what you do. And he was so kind and so such a good person. And I really owe a lot of my success to Rudy.
He does have that Zen-like quality to him. Every time you talk to him, you automatically feel very relaxed.
Yeah, he was like, this is the road you take, not this road,
right.
And this is what you do, not that, deal with it like this. And it was very, very, I was very fortunate to have met him very early on and him to teach me the ins and outs as much as he could,
Well, obviously you've lived the life at this point, and it's still going strong. I mean, you're still making killer music, you're still doing killer tours, you're still associated with some of the most well-known acts on the planet when it comes to rock music. What's next for John 5?
I think the hardest part of doing what I do is to keep doing it.
Right.
And that is the biggest challenge of all of this, is to keep doing it. And that's what I'm going to hopefully keep doing, is to keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. That's perfect. That's exactly,
Yeah.
and that's a great place to end it. John, very much appreciate it. I appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
No problem, man. Thank you.